calling to the outdoors probably came years ago when I was riding my bike out to the pond by Mile Over, knowing that, wow, you're going to ride your bike this far just to be out in the outdoors and go fishing. It was one of those ventures that day that it's like, I want to make this part of my life. I want this to be part of what I do, and hopefully I can share this with a lot of people. Doing what I did, being a high school administrator and then getting the opportunity to work for the Illinois High School Association, I had the chance to try and make a difference with what kids could have educationally in the outdoors. And I had a lot of talk with a really good friend of mine, Terry Brown, that was always talking to me about bass fishing and outdoors, and I'm going like, yeah, it'd be great. And got to the point to where, maybe this could actually happen. To get the bass fishing program off the ground, some of the obstacles that we had was, number one, which took, I think, the longest to sell, probably 5 or 6 years, was the fact that, this is an activity or sport that needs to be worthy of being in your schools, The second one was, which kind of slowed it down, is how do we get coaches? How do we man coaches? The third one became, where do we get these boats to put these kids on the lake? Where does this come from? And the fourth one become, what about insurance? How does the insurance, what are we responsible for as a school? We worked through all those with the schools very diligently. We provided a website that had bass fishing clubs all across the state that were willing to help the schools with coaches with boats. We provided a template that schools could get off of the website to be able to have a program. What do we present to our board to even be approved? We had a template they could follow, which was great. The hurdles were there, but all of them were able to be removed. And from that, we moved forward, and that's why it took a couple years in there to kind of get it all going, was the hesitation. But once it finally going, and once we got the first 214 schools to commit, and the board of directors in 2008 said, hey, go forward, and let's move forward with the start of the program. Let's let 2009 be the initial year. Our first survey of our schools at the end of the first year, we found out that 63% of the kids that were involved in bass fishing that initial year with the state of Illinois did not do any other sports or activities in their schools. So not only did we provide an opportunity for all kids, but we really enriched an area for students that weren't doing anything else in their schools to get involved and promote the outdoors. Wow, what a great idea. What a great way to go. The excitement, the enthusiasm that they had for having it. And really, a funny thing is, as you talk to them, the coaches that were there are all saying, wow, I wish I had this when I was in school, So it's a program that not only the kids are excited about, the coaches are excited about. The educational opportunities are there for our coaches to provide to the kids on safety, bass fishing techniques, reading and looking at the electronics, dealing with weather. I mean, wow, it became quite a interesting thing. My thrills have got to be the fact that look at the program, look at how it is built, look at the direction that it's going. Is it growing? Wow, is it growing? Illinois, the first year had 199 schools. Last year they had 304 schools. So, and 284 boats the first year. Last year, over 600 boats they had to put on. Going from 18 sectionals to this last year, they had to have 30 regionals and 6 sectionals. Is that a growth? Does that show support? Wow, it sure does. And it's special to see a program like that and opportunities like that be able to grow, because of those schools, you got to remember, it's just not 3 kids, because a lot of those schools have their teams, which there might be 10 or 11 or 12 or 15 kids that are involved with the bass fishing program. but only a few of them get a fish in the state series, but all the others are experiencing all this other educational influence of the outdoors, which is tremendous. It's just tremendous. It's been really interesting to watch what happened because, as you know, we were the first state in the country to offer bass fishing as a high school state championship. And through our association, thank goodness they were forward thinking that we were able to pull that off. And now fast forward to now, I track what's going on, and you look at, there's over 31 states in the country now that offer bass fishing of championship of some form, whether it be through the Student Angler Federation, which is housed in the MLF, or through BASS, which runs several events. I'm amazed at how well it's taken off and the direction it's went, and the number of kids that we now have, not only in Illinois, but that we have across the country dealing with bass fishing tournaments. Just incredible. I think that they offer so much more than a kid getting in a boat and a kid going out on lake fishing. The experience of the outdoors, which is what has kept me involved in the outdoors forever, is unexplainable. And I think the one thing that I'm most proud of throughout the whole thing is I've always tried to keep in mind, what do you do that's best for the kids? For the kid, each kid, everybody's different, same shoe don't fit on everybody's foot, everybody's different. So how can we work to make that happen? And having a chance to make a difference in a kid's life has been probably the most driving part of my career. That's all I've wanted to do, make a difference.